So tell me, how is Selma Lagerlöf? How well known was she in 1909? I mean, I assume she was, a household name in Sweden, but was she known outside of the country?
It seems as though she was very well known, of course, in Scandinavia and in Germany and in France. She never quite had the same footing in either England or in the United States that she had in Germany, where she was very popular. I think at least half a dozen translations of the Saga of Gosta Berling in German alone. And so I would say she was pretty well known. That would be my take.
The Saga of Gosta Berling had been translated into English by then. I mean, it was translated into English not long after its original publication in Swedish. And yet, it's been more than 100 years since it's been translated anew, and with your translation. Why do you think that is?
Well, that's something that's puzzled a lot of people, and I don't really know that I have an answer to that.
But you love the novel, and I love the novel.
I do, and I think part of the reason is that I hesitated in terms of taking on the translation project, just wondering whether I could really pull it off, because it is a challenging work to translate, and I think to translate in a way that conveys the kind of the passion of the book, the pleasure of reading it. It's a very enjoyable read, and that can be hard to pull off. It's one thing to sort of paraphrase or kind of approach it, but to really capture the real fun of reading that book is kind of daunting, and I think that maybe has scared translators off. I'm not sure, but that's my theory.
What else have you translated?
Well, I've translated especially several books by two contemporary Swedish writers. One, Tim Davis, it's a pseudonym. His first book was just published this year, and then I've translated several others. And I've also translated one of the leading crime writers' life, Gabriel Persson.
So how was your experience translating the Saga of Gosta Berling different from your experience translating this contemporary writer?
It's a matter of really tuning into the particular author, because they're definitely, every writer, that from authors who write in English. I mean, everyone has a different voice. They've got different words they like to use over and over again. They've got a different way of expressing themselves.
Today in Sweden, is Selma Lagerlöf more respected or loved, or equally loved as respected?
Well, that's an interesting way to put it. People still read her. So, and I think she really has a lot of very devoted fans, you could say, her followers. She's highly regarded. Maybe it would be interesting to compare her to Strindberg. I would say there you maybe have more respect than love, and maybe it would be better to say that with Lagerlöf you've got love mingled with respect, but it's a different kind of relationship. But certainly, the Saga of Gosta Berling is a book that's, if people were saying, well, what are the 10 most important Swedish books, works of fiction, that would always be on that list. I'm tempted to compare it to Moby Dick in a way, but it's that well known, and including the first line of the book, which everybody knows in Sweden.
And can you recite that for us?
Äntligen stod prästen I predikstolen. At long last, the minister was standing in the pulpit. It's a very strong opening line and extremely well known. I mean, I think any Swedish reader could quote that to you without even batting an eye.
What is unique about Selma Lagerlöf? Would you say there's something of a signature to her style or her literary concerns?
Oh, definitely. One thing about her style is that part of it is it's been described as a kind of inimitable simplicity. She often writes, it's one of the challenging things about translating her too, is that at times she writes extremely simply, very directly, and then at other times she becomes very lyrical. She has definitely a very distinctive voice. You can pick up a page and start reading it, and you very quickly realize, oh, you're reading Selma Lagerlöf.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to ask you. Or maybe there's something else that you wanted to hit on that I didn't ask you.
You might ask about the significance of the word saga.
Oh, okay, right.
The word saga is, in Swedish, is actually, you can refer to, say, a saga in the sense of that Icelandic saga, kind of heroic exploits. It also more or less means fairy tale. And I think in the context of this work, you could say that it resembles an Icelandic saga in the sense that it's dealing with a particular place, which is often very important in the Icelandic sagas, and then a particular figure that's sort of the catalyst for everyone else. But the sagas also often deal with many, many minor characters and people who just happen to pass by. And in that respect, it's like a saga. It's not really just, you could say, the story of Gösta Berling, but it's a story that kind of centers around him, both the place where he lives and then the other people that he encounters. So that's it's not in a strict sense trying to recreate an Icelandic saga, but it's perhaps creating some of that feel, and also kind of a fairy tale feel, because I think one of the most important things about the work is just the celebration of the imagination. I mean, it's a tremendous work of the fictional imagination, and just the power of that, and she acknowledges that at the very end of the work when she finally takes leave of the readers.
I like to think that there's something of the sagas in the Saga of Gosta Berling. All right. Thanks again, Paul.
Okay, thanks, John.